Hello everyone, welcome to SportSource, your number one source of sports, and today we're going to be talking about potential Kevin Love trade that may happen. Now, these trade rumors have sparked because he is coming back by injury, and the trade deadline is coming up, and the Cavs, there's lots of teams interested in Kevin Love, and we're just going to be talking about those teams. But before I start that, there are a couple contradicting things for the Kevin Love trade. One of them is that Kevin Love is kind of a hard asset to kind of value, because on one hand, he was an all-star last year. He's a really good player. He's good in the post. He's a good shooter for his position. But on the negative side, he's 30 years old. He's injury-prone, and he has a big salary for 4 more years, and lots of teams' timetables don't match up with that. But today we're going to be talking about some different trade packages. Now, again, I don't really know what to value. I think the main decider on if Kevin Love will be traded is I think that lots of people will want to not give up a lot for Kevin Love, probably like role players and some picks. But I think that the Cavaliers want a young player and to be blown away. And not a lot of teams in that position to contend, and teams that want Kevin Love might not need that. And for the team needs, I think a team that needs Kevin Love is a team either contending and they need an extra piece, a team barely out of the playoffs and needs a playoff push, or a team that is in the playoff race, but they just need an extra push to be a contender. Now, the first team we're going to be talking about is the Portland Trailblazers. Now, Kevin Love, he grew up in Oregon, and I've been saying for a bit now that Kevin Love would be a good fit with this Trailblazers team for the most part. You got Lillard, you got CJ. I don't think that CJ would be given up in a potential Kevin Love trade because that's just not very smart. But you got that. You got Nurkic as the center. I don't know if a Nurkic-Love front court would really work because both of them are not great defenders. Nurkic has been having a really good season, and he's been doing good down the stretch. But I don't know if it would really work. If I had to think of a potential trade package, it'd probably have to include a first-round pick, Zach Collins, which, I mean, the Cavs need big men, especially for the future. That's one of their main needs. So Zach Collins would fit perfectly there, and that would probably be the main asset. You got to pick either a first or a second, and the Portland Trailblazers could also dump a salary because they have lots of bad salaries right now, and they could try to absorb Kevin Love's contract by getting rid of one of their salaries. Another trade that could happen is to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, this is one of the more heavier rumored ones because, A, the Thunder are a contender, and lots of people think that they are one of the best teams in the league and that they have a chance of beating the Warriors. And 2, Westbrook and Kevin Love were roommates in college at UCLA, and they were pretty good friends at the time, and of course people want to see them reunited. Now, there's 2 issues with it. One of them is the salary cap. Now, the only way the salary cap will really work is if the Thunder give away Dennis Schroeder. And I know they don't want to do that because Schroeder is that bench piece. They're really one of their only bench pieces that they could really rely on. He's a great backup point guard. I think he's averaging like close to 15 points. I'm not sure how many assists. But he's making $15 million, and he would probably be the contract, or they could give up Patrick Patterson and a bunch of other salaries. But you also got guys like Diallo and Ferguson. I think they'd want to keep Ferguson because he's been playing good next to Westbrook, but Hamidou Diallo might be in a potential trade. Now, they probably want to keep Jeremy Grant because he would be a really good role player. You have Schroeder and Jeremy Grant. Those are kind of your 2 second-unit players. So they'd probably want to give up like Patrick Patterson, Abrines, Diallo, and a second. Some other assets. Would the Cavs accept that? Probably not. Another thing about potential Cavs trade is they might not want to give him up because, A, when LeBron left the first time, this same thing kind of happened, and they were rebuilding for half a decade. If they trade away Kevin Love, they'll be rebuilding for half a decade. But by the time they're contending, he won't be as good. And also, it'll help with a veteran, because once this team finally gets good, Kevin Love will be exiting his prime, and he could be a good leader for them, just not for the salary cap. And also for the fans, it would be good so that they're not completely terrible, because they're really bad right now, but they don't have Kevin Love. So if they have Kevin Love, then they would be a little bit more competitive and a little bit more fun to watch for NBA fans and Cleveland fans in general. But on the other hand, they would probably want to get a pick out of him and some assets because they may lose their first-round pick because of the Patrick McCaw thing. If you want to see a video on that or just look up an article feel free to do that, but it's very complicated. Basically, the Cavs may lose their first-round pick this year and may lose their chance at either Zion, RJ, or another prospect in the draft. So that is one of the reasons Kevin Love rumors has sparked, because if that happens, they need a first-round pick, and Kevin Love is probably their ticket to do that. Another team that people have been discussing, the Pelicans have been in decent trade talks, but the problem I see with that is the fit. Kevin Love, I don't feel like would be a good fit on this team. I feel like Davis and Love, that would be good, but they already have Randall and Mirotic. Now, given one of them would be in the deal, I think that Mirotic would be in the deal, so probably Mirotic and a first I could see. But I think they need more bench depth, definitely. And I think they need more defense and shooting. They need more wing players. They don't really got a lot. They got guys like Darius Miller, Solomon Hill. Not a lot of depth. Their front court, though, is really good. They got lots of solid bigs. But another point that was brought up before was they need to beat the Warriors somehow. So I kind of see where this person's getting at. They're not going to beat the Warriors by just building an all-around team. They're going to beat them with size. But still, I don't really think that they should be worrying about beating the Warriors, because I don't think that that's a possibility for them. Another team discussed was the Denver Nuggets. They have interest, and lots of people are saying that Kevin Love should go to the Nuggets, but I don't really think that would work. Now, the reason I think it would be good is because of the veteranship. If you look at the Denver Nuggets, now, if you see Through the Wire podcast, they just came out with a video, or an episode of their podcast Through the Wire while I'm watching this. They made a video about contender or pretender. So basically what it was is they named a team, and if they were championship contenders, or if they were not. So it was contender or pretender. And the Denver Nuggets, I don't think is a contender. I think they're a pretender. The only reason because they don't really have that elite scoring option. And another thing is they also don't have the veteranship. And Kevin Love would add that, but I don't think a Jokic and Kevin Love frontcourt would work because they're too similar. I mean, usually when you look at, it could work, but when you look at traditional frontcourts that have worked, you kind of have like a stretch with a rebounding center. That's usually most of the cases what happens. But, Kevin Love is not a great defender. Neither is Jokic. They're both shooters. They're not elite scorers, but they could go off for a couple nights, and they're both really good passing big men. So I don't know if it would work, but they really need that veteranship. And also, adding back to the Thunder, that's another thing they need. Kevin Love is a champion. He's played with the greats, or just the great LeBron James. But that's the only reason I see the Nuggets doing the deal. Now, in terms of a trade package, there's not a lot. Now, we haven't seen this Nuggets team healthy because MPJ and Isaiah Thomas are still out. But regardless, we'll have to see how that all plays out. Now, the other team in consideration is the Dallas Mavericks. Now, a reason I think that this would be really good is because Mark Cuban has come out and said that after last year was the year of tanking, and this year he wanted to be competitive. So how do you do that? He went out and got DeAndre Jordan, but Luka Doncic has been showing that he is ready. He's been the most impressive rookie so far, and maybe they want to get more valuable pieces so that they could contend right now. And Kevin Love is one of those pieces. Again, he has experience. He could help Luka. And I feel like a DeAndre, Kevin Love backcourt would be really good because what Kevin Love lacks, DeAndre Jordan has. What DeAndre Jordan lacks, Kevin Love has. So I feel like it would work perfectly. Now, for a trade package, they don't have their first-round pick this year, which is a huge asset in my eyes for the Cleveland Cavaliers. If I'm the Cleveland Cavaliers, here's what I kind of want. I want a big man because they have no big man depth. They have a lot of wing depth right now, so I want a forward, a pick, and any other additional assets I can get. Those are my main two things, a big man and a pick. And can the Mavericks really do that? I mean, the one big man that really stands out to me that's expendable, well, Harrison Barnes. He's been playing. He's a good, solid forward for them. He's making a lot of money, so the salary would balance out. But I don't really know if they would want to swap Kevin Love for Harrison Barnes. I don't really know if they want to do that. And I'm not really sure if it's realistic because, again, Kevin Love is kind of a hard player to value. Now, for the last team I'm going to be talking about, this is the team that I think should pursue Kevin Love, and I think if there was an option, they will go to him. They could offer the best package to the Cavaliers, and I think that this would be perfect. The team that I'm talking about are the Charlotte Hornets. Now, before you talk about the Thunder and stuff, here's what I gotta say. The Hornets, you got Kemba. Kemba is a star, not a superstar. He's a star. He's shown that he can ball out. And lots of people are saying either free Kemba or get Kemba help. And this would be Kemba's help. Now, I really like the Hornets drafting. Over the past couple years, Miles Bridges, I think, is a very key asset. I see lots of potential in him as a good 3-and-D player. I see him, this may be a little bit far-fetched, but I think that he kind of plays similar to Paul George. You know, they were drafted about the same area of the draft, about the same game. You know, I think that he has that ceiling. Is it realistic? Probably not. But if Miles Bridges turns out to be a superstar or a star, come back to this video and hear it here first. But anyways, back on topic. The Hornets can offer all they need. Now, the trade package would probably include a bad contract to even it out because the contract situation for the Charlotte isn't great right now. So why not just add more fire to the dumpster, I guess, or more gas to the fire? So they would probably have to give up either Batum or Biyombo. I would probably say Biyombo because he's making less money and he's a big man. I don't really know if he would get minutes in that rotation, but probably Biyombo at level out the salary. You also got Frank Kaminsky, who, I mean, he averaged 11 points last year, I think like 6 points this year, and he just hasn't been proving it. He's 25 years old right now. I think that if he goes to a struggling Cleveland Cavaliers team, that he could be a valuable backup big for them for the time being. And then one of the key pieces in this deal, Malik Monk. I am an absolute fan of Malik Monk. Malik Monk was one of my favorite players in the 2017 draft class when he got drafted. Last year, not really that good, but he had that stretch at the end of the year where he was balling out. He's averaging, I think, 10 points per game this year, and he's a baller. Malik Monk is a really good prospect, and I think that him and Sexton, could it work? I mean, they're both kind of short for their position. Colin Sexton, I think, is 6'2", and Malik Monk is 6'3", so that might be a problem. But even I could see Malik Monk's potential being a Lou Williams that can dunk. That's what I kind of see him. They're both undersized guards who can play make, they could shoot, and they could score and ball out when needed. So I wouldn't mind Malik Monk playing a future six-man if you're building a contender. He's really young. The only problem I can see with this trade, the return for Cleveland, is Miles Bridges. I think the Cavs would want to have Miles Bridges in this deal, and if Charlotte isn't willing to give him up, then that's where I think this trade ultimately falls out. But the Hornets are, I think, the 9th or 8th seed as I'm recording this video, and they want to make a push for the playoffs because in the East, they want to capitalize. They're like 4 games below 500, and they're still in the playoff race. In the West, if they had that same record, they would be the 14th or 15th seed. That is not very good. That just shows you how stacked the West is compared to the East. But anyways, back on topic. Kevin Love, I feel like would be a great fit with Kemba. I think that would be a great dynamic duo. Now, the only problem is the age for Kevin Love and all that. And Jeremy Lamb is a good player. So you got Jeremy Lamb, Kemba, you got Kevin Love, you got Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, and then you got Cody Zeller. That, I think, is a good team. Now, they need to get their eyes set on direction. I think that Kevin Love puts them in the direction that they're trying to achieve. They kind of don't really have a direction. They're not bad enough to get a high pick, but they're not good enough to make the playoffs. They have made the playoffs before. I'm not sure how long ago. It was a couple years ago, though. Within 5 years, I'm pretty sure they made the playoffs. But regardless, they would probably get bounced in the first round anyway, but I want to see them make that playoff push. And giving up Malik Monk and all those other assets for him wouldn't be that bad, and it would be a win-win in my eyes for both teams. But what do you guys think? What are some trade packages for Kevin Love? Let me know down in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take care and goodbye.